Another adventure with Mike and Qrash
Hi.
fighting Satan.
Wow, today was bad. We had a problem with Mike's Zoom or his email account, and I do want to mention something about that before he gets started with Rumble. Okay, Rumble was not notifying us of any kind of comments, so I'm sorry there was a delay. And I like to reply to a lot of the comments, and I couldn't. But it's kind of fixed now, so I think it's okay. And we want to, I've seen a lot of you comment on there that you're sharing it and you're, telling people about his channel. And that's great because that's what we need. We need more eyes on everything. So sorry for the delay in comments and replies, but hopefully it's fixed. And please share it out. So that's what I wanted to say about that. And I saw that Flynn blocked you. I
Yes, he did, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I want to tell everybody? We are more dangerous now than we've ever been. Now, think about this. The same people, Flynn and his team of misfits, told you I was the greatest whistleblower in history. Their words. They wanted
Right.
to make a movie, one of the most important men of our times, and they told you about the money laundering network, that they told you I was Pandora's box. I am still all of that. They are coming our way. They did, in other words, and what did I tell everybody for all these years? Told you about the courts. They being a problem. And I told you about Flynn. And I told you how they were telling you why I was so important, because they were following the money laundering network. They are using my evidence.
I was just going to say that. All he's talking about now is everything you've been saying for 20 years.
Now we're all getting, and Rakeland's doing the thing, money laundering and human trafficking, which is
Yeah.
all tied up in the same cartels. I mean, they're setting it up, but he's also still in play, Flynn. In fact, you know something? Maybe that it's a good time to pop up that screenshot. Now, what did we say on our last video, by the way? We told you any day now that Tina Peters would be taking a walk, right? Because she directly can incriminate Flynn, which can tie into the DOJ. So she's got to go free. And that's what's happening now. Right on time. What did I say? A few days?
Yeah.
Here's a bingo. Okay, Qrash, you take that down. But you see, there's the movement. Now remember the meeting where you heard the Flynn plan. You can't hear that tape. It is there. With the text messages from December 18th, that's the insurrection. That was the day that it was enacted, put in motion, right off the Lynn Woods meeting. And then Burns and Powell and Flynn get into the Oval Office and push an insurrection plot against the president to sign a lawsuit. All right. Now we're supposed to forget all that. And Flynn's going out there looking for exactly who he is. All right, hit it, Qrash. So in other words, Flynn's looking for Flynn. And now, so here's where we are now, why we're more dangerous than any time else. Ready? We've got Patel, head of the FBI. We got Bongino, who out of the gate called Flynn his buddy, right? So now we put their feet to the fire. What I have is evidence, absolute evidence, witnesses, hundreds of witnesses, years of evidence that they've known. Everything that I've told you is coming this direction. I went to war with the government because I told you that they were the deep state. I went to war with the CIA. That is your podcast world. That is 98%. Shelby Bush, remember, and why you couldn't hear it. Now you tell me they're going to lay off, buy out, not a layoff, a buyout of the whole CIA? Okay, Qrash. That's a buyout to get your ass out of town. That's a negotiation. That's a deal. They didn't go to jail. They went home with 8 months' pay. That's a
Right.
negotiation. You ready? You want to know if that's the case? You don't buy out a whole department. No more CIA. What good were they before? Listen, you know what they were selling you? Gold and lies. So Trump doesn't know these things. So if that's not a deal, listen, has President Trump said deal about 100 times this week?
Yeah, he
Deal,
did.
deal, deal.
Yeah.
Right. It's negotiations. It's not always what you want to happen. It's where you're leveraged position to have happen, which is what I've been doing is leveraging position, and that leveraging position is used. And Flynn is using it to blackmail. Okay, hit it, Qrash. He's telling you about, guess what? He's telling you the Ukraine is a money laundering network. Really? Remember that video in 2019 when I went to Epoch Times? Patrick Howley, right? What did I tell you? I'm up to my ass in Ukrainians. That was 4 years before a Ukrainian war. 9 out of 10 of you didn't even know where the Ukraine was. And I'm fighting the bastards off. That's who I think went to kill me in Miami. It was money laundering. What did I say about finding the LLCs and the trust companies? They were connected to Ukraine and back. They are the trading partners with New Hampshire. It is part of the Pandora Papers. What is the Pandora's box? And now's a good time to introduce you to the title of that. And the title of that is, let me see, what was it?
Title of our show here.
Right. Elon audit the cartel bank and open Pandora's box. And we'll explain. And the evidence you'll see is a simple key to the box. The easiest way in is always the best way in. A professor, Jean Kepthorne, of judges and lawyers, she knew what I was up against before I did. What she said was, she goes, Mike, you find their weakest point. He goes, you don't try to prove it all at once. You try to get in and pierce that wall. And what I'm going to show you later in this podcast is the evidence and where it's connected to pierce that wall into the Pandora's box, whether they like it or not. Okay, so in other words, when you have Flynn screaming about the Ukraine and money laundering, no shit. Child trafficking, no kidding. Hey,
He
thanks
ought
for
to
that.
know.
And listen, we have the evidence, not only the communications, but that 15-page affidavit, it was all money laundering.
Right.
Drugs, cartels, names. That's why Rakeland's pitching tent in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Right. Just get caught in a couple of pictures with Aaron Day.
Aaron Day, of all people.
Right. And then Matthew, who we heard from a reliable source, was in New Hampshire. What the hell's he doing in there?
Yeah.
You see? This is all connected. Now, don't miss this that was on top of that Ukraine with Flynn. Elon Musk on the top of that responded to Flynn and said he's not lying. Well, that's the only thing he's not lying about. You see that? He's not wrong. I'm sorry. He's not wrong. Okay.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
So Musk knows about it. Flynn knows about it. And I was the only one talking about it since 2014 with the Ukraine, trying not to get murdered by the assholes in 15 and 16, telling everybody.
Yeah.
So Musk is in on it. Musk knows who Flynn is because each side needs somebody with a master mover. That's Musk. He's also could be moving you. So when you start seeing all these audits, this and audits that, listen, they're laying people off because we're broke. They're giving them buyouts, right? So in other words,
not going to jail.
No one's indicted. No one's going to jail. In fact, let's have a list. Let's have a count on anybody from the swamp, the deep state that goes to jail. So far, since 2016, we've got 0.
Right.
So let's see what we can do. We've got Patel. We got Bongino. They told us where they were all. We've got all these auditings. Listen, if that's a screen for getting these people out of place, we owe it to the American people to find it. And maybe we don't want to pay them off. Maybe we want them indicting and talking. I
Right.
mean, it was our future and the future of our children that they stole from us, like a department like the IRS that's in money laundering. Think how many people they tortured. They wanted 87,000 IRS agents armed to collect money from you. They would take your home, attach your pay. Hey, listen, they want to pay me 50 million and taking my 1,200 out of my 2,300. That's who they are. And we want to give them what, buyouts? All right. So is it a smoke show? And speaking of smoke show, we know, what do we know for sure? We know Flynn is being moved along here. And we know Bongino is going to be the assistant director, and that creates a giant void and a patriot network that Flynn and the media empire move right into with the help of Bongino, which is why Bongino's been kissing Flynn right on the ass. It's money, baby. That's who's going to be watching the store. And this band of misfits who's going to go mainstream. And now they're going to be stealing from thousands of you.
Yeah, more people.
Brilliant. Hey, maybe every time I save your ass, meaning the people, I get deeper in shit. You want to know right and wrong? Every time I call them out, and they want to marry me, they want me to be a star. I keep picking you and winding up in a swamp.
You're doing
Okay,
it. I
hit it,
know
Qrash.
you're doing it for what we gotta sometime we gotta listen to you. Some people are listening. That's good.
It is. Hey, listen, they'll all figure it out in time. Chances are I won't be here. I'll be
we're
like
seeing
one of
it.
those artists. Okay. Now that's FTX. FTX was registered corporation in New Hampshire, just like Silicon Valley Bank. And what are they doing? Laundering the money. But that's the partnership with New Hampshire and the Ukraine. It's the purpose is move the money outside the country. It comes back clean. It's a disconnect. And as long as you can trust the person on the other side, then that's how they split their money. You see how they were saying, as far as collecting the Democrat, listen, all the weaponry isn't going to the Ukraine. You think they trust? You think those thieves, those senators and congressmen trust Zelensky and those thieves? They're all thieves. The weaponry goes right to Mexico and arms the cartels there. That's why with Zelensky saying, well, I didn't get that much. I don't have accounting there. What he's trying to say is, hey, listen, they didn't send us all that stuff. And who's ahead of that? Oh, Senator Jeanne Shaheen in New Hampshire, who makes more assault weapons than any state in the country. You get it? We're arming, money laundering the Mexican cartels. All right, hit it, Qrash. And it's all from New Hampshire, including Silicon Valley Bank. That's not an accident. And it is connected to the Ukraine. What do we have up
Well, next all you have left is your evidence.
Llewellyn evidence. All right. So before I set this up, okay, well, I want you to see again.
Oh.
Remember,
I took it down.
All right. Did you see all that? Well, but what we're doing is this. Ready?
Do you want
understand?
Do you want it back?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh gosh, it's hitting. The buttons are not working for me today.
All right. Well,
there we go.
How about this? The people who are following us have been seeing these, and you're going to be seeing it more because that is the Department of Justice's worst nightmare. It's the evidence of the Pandora's box, of the cartel, of the courts, of the judicial network they have. I mean, it opens the door to everything. Now, the second page, Qrash. Now, what you're going to hear is a tape from a hitman. And if you look down here, I can't see it, but I think it was around 3/4 down the page or a little below about a hitman and an attempt to a murder for hire.
Yeah, right there. You
there
can't.
It is. Okay. And you're going to hear from that gentleman. Okay. He didn't take the contract. Okay. You can take that down. But what that represents is, you ready now? The Department of Justice has the evidence you're going to hear for a bit. The recording is called Kill Gill. Okay, I'll set it up in a second. You won't hear it all, but you can go on YouTube, State of Corruption, and play the whole thing. But I wanted to have you understand what this was and where we can take it, meaning opening that door. So by seeing it on the sheet, and that evidence was retained by the United States Attorney. Remember now, Llewellyn was the most powerful law enforcement officer in New England. He was right behind the AG. In fact, when I met with him, there was talk that he was going to be consideration if Trump won the next AG. Okay? That's when you got Barr. That's who we worked for, was Barr. And then he worked with Durham in the investigation of the Boston FBI, which is also how I knew them both. And when you guys were running around with Durham thinking he was part of the trick, right? So what it does is, Llewellyn, what did he do with it? He gave it to the Attorney General of the United States and the Washington Bureau of the FBI. So all of them have to answer what happened. And you can't say that it wasn't alarming, it wasn't of interest, that Llewellyn would then send it immediately to the Attorney General. So it speaks for itself. So, step one, we just set that up. So the gentleman you're going to hear from, the Department of Justice, Llewellyn, and the Attorney General of the United States know who he is, where he worked, everything. Okay? They know.
I lost you. What else is going to happen? Give me a second. See if he comes back. He probably don't even know he lost me. That's how it works.
Who was living, who was the collector
Can you
for
hear
the
me?
Hells Angel and the cartel, working and controlling the.
Can you hear me? See, I don't know when this is happening, if it's still recording on your end for the audience. So I think it booted him off. I'm going to pause.
Are we back?
Oh, wait, are you back? Are
Yeah,
you there?
I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know what, I don't know what happened.
Let's keep
just
rolling.
saying, I don't know if they heard that. They might still keep hearing you. I don't know that, but.
Okay.
Is your
So you
stable?
think, are we still on?
Yeah, we're still, it says.
All right.
Okay, wait. Yeah, it says we're recording. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Is your show recording or don't you see anything?
I just see you now.
Okay.
I don't see.
Mine says recording, so I left it go.
Okay. So now that they own that evidence, you're going to hear what I'm talking about drugs. He's talking about machine guns. He's talking about collections. He's even working with the mafia. This Donazio that he mentions was the one who cut the deal with Steve Wynn with the casino in Boston. So that's all mob.
Now,
and
this
if you remember, Married to the Mob.
Is this the first short clip that you're discussing right now? Or
It's a little blend.
All of it. Okay.
A blend of it all. So, but I'm just saying important points. Maybe you've heard of it, but what I'm saying is it gets into the financing of the cars. That gets financed by the cartel banks, that turns around and gets protected by the banking department and the DOJ. Now, when you catch that simple thing, you open the door to the Pandora's box that they were cheating these people, and you're going to find out that the owners of AutoFair, what were they in? The Pandora Papers. So you're into the Pandora Papers, and the owner moves to the lottery. Andy Cruz is running the lottery, licensing the casino's licenses. So from this little port, we can get everybody. So don't let them ever have you think we don't have a path. I could drive through them 10 different ways. This is simple by the evidence and by the numbers. Okay, Qrash, let's hit it with that 6 minute.
Well, no, wait, it's only a 40-second clip that I'm going to play first. Do you want me to continue? Then I'm going to stop it. So
then you stop it. Right.
Okay. And then you can discuss if you need to.
Yes.
So let me set this up here.
Me personally? Yeah. have been in his house smoking cocaine too. Who, Sequoias? Yeah. I've been in his house, and I'm a street guy. I went to jail. I used to hurt people for a living. And you know what's funny? Long time ago, when I don't get involved in politics, they wanted me to hurt you. And I'm like, I'm fucking doing that. That's some handshake. You would get arrested or something, and somebody's like, hey, listen, how much does fucking kind of make this guy go away? I'm all set. I get out of jail a long time ago. I have a child. They tried to kill me 3 times. 3 times. Once in jail. As far as Andy Cruz.
Okay, that's good, Qrash. Now, this was the 4th guy they sent. And when he was saying just out of jail, what did I say? They tried to murder me in jail. As soon as I get out of jail, he gets a call to try to finish the job. That's murder for hire. He's working with the cartel.
And just so you know, tell the people why you were in jail. It wasn't because you did anything wrong, so to speak.
Oh, I'll tell you. I was in jail because I took the evidence to Judge Francois. Aaron Day was there and recorded the whole thing, the piece of shit, by the way, as he was working with James O'Keefe. And what the judge, I had text messages that how they were going to chop off my children's heads, mail them back to me one at a time. I had a letter and all. I had all kinds of evidence I wanted to give the judge. The judge refused to take it. I turned around and said, listen, this is the lives of my children. I insist you take it. He goes, Mr. Gill, one more word. And I said, this is my children's lives. You expect me to be quiet? He goes, you've got 5 seconds to say you're sorry. And I told him to go fuck himself.
Right.
And I did 10 days in jail. Didn't leave. And they tried to murder me the 2nd day in. A guy who now a judge, Jared Broderick, came in to offer me $50 million again and admitted it. And now he's a judge. And you know who he was working for? James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. I'm telling you, this has got Mossad all over it. This O'Keefe, remember, from O'Keefe to Howley to Stone to Flynn to Alex Jones.
It's a big club and they're all in it.
Right. And they're all looking for my ass. Believe me, I didn't look for any of them, not a single one. I went to none of them. Why did they all come to me, including the DOJ, including December 18th from that Oval Office? Why'd they come for me?
Trump's people came and asked you for your stuff.
Right. And that's who I was working with. And that's why I don't trust shit. I trust what gets done, not what's promised. We are now in the show me time. What is it? Show me state? What is that? Missouri? Well, you know what? We're all from Missouri and it's all about showing me. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what you did. That's it. But understand now, this guy is a witness. He was hired by the cartel. Now remember where he goes when the rest of this. Okay, go ahead, Qrash.
All right. This one's a little longer. So.
And I'm going to try, well, we're going to try to stop it and hopefully we don't disconnect.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to set it up here.
So I went and contracted with all the dealerships and I still sell cars, but people come to me because they're huge bases and I go get their cars for them. And if they're going to buy a car of warranty, I disclose everything to them. I do it the right way. Yes, absolutely. Now, let's say a young woman, 24 years old, comes in to buy a Honda. Okay? She wants to lease a little Honda Accord. Well, let's say she's a bartender. You and I both know bartender can't prove their income. Okay? Right. 99% of banks won't prove their income. Well, isn't it funny that when Mary Jones got called over to Grand Big Guardian, she worked for, don't be surprised if she worked for fucking Mike Gill Incorporated making $65,000 a year because they wait for income. They're such liars. If you really want to get them, I don't think the drugs is the way because they're too slick with the drugs. Like, I know the drug game, man. Like, if you want to, I mean, I would never be involved, but if you want to do a setup where there's a big amount of fucking drugs, I can do it. But I think if you really want to get them, you get them on being deceitful pieces of fucking shit. And you know what? You can even use me. I'll stick it right to cunt. I don't give a fuck. You don't scare me one bit. I can do it your way. If you do it yourself, you just won't be tough guy, right? I go, well, you punch me in the face 3 times. And I go 3 times.
Do you know this guy Kimbus?
I'll kill him.
But do you know that's kind of a guy that they'll send?
He's a pussy. He's a pussy. You want to know who the real strong arm is? Okay, my strong arm. He's the most dangerous human being up in that area. His name is DOGE. He has nothing to do with it. We call him LB. He's the muscle for the Hell's Angels. He is my right-hand man. Me and him walk into a place, I don't give a fuck who you are. You ain't fucking with me. You can bring the 10 toughest guys you know, they ain't gonna fuck with him. I can tell you right now. That is muscle. I'm talking real muscle. We'll go in and wipe your children out if he has to. You don't give a fuck. Just relentless. Relentless. Let's put it this way. Jared's son is owed me 15 grand. Owed me 15 grand. I had to chase him. Common is going to get my money. I called my buddy Eric Labash. I go, LB, listen. They were a little puke up at the National store like my money. Gary did. He walked up to the store. All you can do is look at him. I'll send you a picture. LB walks up and goes, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, I'm real busy. He shuts the door. He says, you owe $25,000. Yeah, I was 15. He goes, no, you're then 15. You'll be 10 first. I'm not paying you 10. And then he pulled up pictures of his kids and he says, see this little girl here? And the kid's like, don't do that. He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to cut her fucking head off with a chainsaw. And let me tell you something, he was not playing. He said, so if you don't have a knife for your house, your dog's dead. You can go tell the cops I said it too, because when you tell the cops are going to tell me, and then I'm going to get your wife. That was it, he picked. So that was my last run-in with Jared. He's like,
All right.
Right. Adorable. You see, actually, I respect those guys more than I do the guys that send them. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
don't like the cowards. Anyhow, let's take a look where the financing of the cars. You'll go through just the video, Kill Gill. You'll see when I'm questioning them, who's financing it? Primary bank, Granite State Credit Union, St. Mary's Credit Union, Bank. Ready? All controlled by the cartel. Primary owns it. They're doing all the financing. And so, who did he work for? Auto Fair. Auto Fair's in the Pandora Papers. Okay, now we just moved into the money laundering network. Now we're into the trillion. That was part of the trillion they found, boys and girls, with Auto Fair. Now that's Cruz and that's Anagos, and that's who this guy worked for. Okay? So now that gets us into Auto Fair, which is in the Pandora Papers. Now, the financing, we get to audit the back end. Granite State, St. Mary's, and Primary. Primary owned by the cartel. You can audit them because what he was saying is the crime in the financing is upselling the interest rate, meaning they sell you a car and tell you your rate is 8%, where you could have gotten 6. So they make another 3,000 or 4,000 on the car with the interest rate bump. See,
Okay.
It's called upselling. That's what he was doing. And they were loading up the thing and robbing them. And who's going to call in anything? Primary. Primary's using the cars as hiding their millions and billions in inventory. When they flip the inventory, they keep the financing and cheat you on that other end. And it's a constant washing machine. It's why Tony Montana and Scarface own car dealerships.
So the laundering is in the financing.
The laundering is in the hiding of the asset in the thing, and the laundering's in the financing.
Okay.
Who catches them? Good question. That's the banking department. That was Jerry Little. And if I trust you, I don't have to audit.
Okay.
So let's follow the dancing Anagos. So that gets us now. Remember now, Auto Fair. And he's talking about Auto Fair saying, I can get you as many machine guns as you want. Who do you think's arming the Mexican cartel? Gene Shaheen. We make more machine guns than anybody, and you can buy them in the auto dealership, Auto Fair, which was the largest in New England. They were moving drugs and fentanyl and heroin through car carriers. They put them in the tires of the car, and no cop has you ever break down a car carrier truck.
Yeah.
Bingo. They do the same shit in horse racing. You know those big hay trucks? They hollow out the middle and nobody breaks down a hay truck.
Right.
Except for me. So here's the thing. So now we get in autofill. We got primary bank. Wait a minute. Now we get the bank. We audit the bank. We're going to say, hey, how'd you get away with this? The banking department didn't audit you. Just like they don't audit the cartel at the cartel bank. Wait a minute. We get the banking department now. You get the banking department. You get the IRS. You get Bill Shaheen, you get Sununu, you get everybody. It's a simple door that you have to ask the question. Now let me see. What did he say? He said LaBarge, who only worked with the collecting for the Hells Angels. Who did I tell you was in drug distribution? But
The
motorcycle gangs.
Yeah.
So when I went to Arizona with somebody who looked like was part of a motorcycle gang, I know how that shit works. It's
Right.
who they send to murder my ass. One of them, they put it on the internet, had it on Facebook. They dug a hole, put a wooden cross, and had a white paint my name on it. No shit.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And you'll be happy to know that they generally own strip clubs.
Oh, okay.
And that's how the child trafficking, the human trafficking. Do you know there's only one strip club in the whole state of New Hampshire? It's in the most prestigious town in New Hampshire. And it's owned by Dick Aganos and the drug cartel. Hello.
Wow.
One in New Hampshire. But, okay, so now we're into that. Now he mentions LaBarge. Remember? Chainsaw a little girl's neck, just so you know how sweet these bastards are. They don't send... They should have sent them before. Now, LaBarge. Who's LaBarge? Oh, LaBarge is the guy that got arrested for attacking the reporters of Pandora Papers when they wrote about Granite State Recovery, owned by Anagos. Oh, LaBarge worked there too. Right. Then LaBarge got arrested? Could he be flipping?
Right.
Right. He was only throwing bricks, and he was protecting the Granite State Recovery for the cartel, being in the Pandora Papers, tied to him. So they're trying to kill me, and they're threatening them, and we're both associated with the money laundering network.
Now, how did you get to talk to this guy? How did
he called?
Okay. So now he's a witness.
Oh, you're damn tootin' he's a witness. He called in because I guess they've had, they didn't like each other for anymore. And he was telling me what I didn't know was Aaron Day recorded the phone call. It was Aaron who got the call first. And Aaron told him to call back to speak to me. So when he called back to speak to me, I didn't even know Aaron recorded the phone call. And then it was Eileen said to him, you got a recording of that? And I go, you have a recording of that phone call? He goes, yeah. And I go, I'd like a copy of it. He goes, no.
So how did you
Let's just say we had a meeting of the minds and I got the tape.
Okay, gotcha.
It was my ass that was going to be killed, but that was the end of him. That was part of this. It was right after the election. He just fixed it. That was the Eileen, the whole thing. That was O'Keefe. That's how they knew I was going to Epoch Times. Everything's been a setup. Everything's been James O'Keefe. Everything's been Flynn. And that's DOJ. That's intelligence. Right into the podcast world. But understand now what this guy does as a witness. Working for murder for hire, money laundering, drugs, machine guns. And listen, I was running for governor. That's an assassination of a political figure. All right. I mean, we've got issues here. He opens that door. When he says, you really want to get him? You really want to get him? That's how you get him. And you know what? He's right. And I'll tell you something else. He wanted to help me get them.
Well, that's why he called.
Right. Maybe he's got a chance again now.
Maybe.
But that's who these are. So we have it. So again, Elon, audit the cartel bank. And you ready? Audit the Senate. Audit Congress. And if you don't, it's all bullshit. It's bullshit. We can have stock trading, insider trading, right? You think that's what they're stealing, what they let you see? That's the trick. What you see is the trick. It's what you don't see. If they're showing you 200 million, it's 2 billion somewhere, which is why the currency again in Washington, why we're in the Ukraine, is blackmail and extortion. And General Flynn is running wild. He's got
Right.
my evidence. He's got the Pandora's box. Everybody's quieter than the church mouths. Anybody says I'm lying? Who said I'm
Nobody
lying?
They say you're lying, but they don't have anything to prove it with. They don't
Oh, what? A
argue.
Snedeker?
They don't
An
argue your
errand day?
evidence. Well, he wants to prove other things that don't even make sense. But the thing is like Flynn's ready to move into Bongino's podcasting spot, just waiting. And I think Bongino's, what I send you, the 14th of March is when Bongino's going to give that up. So I'm waiting to see what happens with that.
I'm telling you what's happening. They're moving right in.
Yeah.
This is going to be a media empire. Just as CNN's crumbling, MSNBC's crumbling. They're filling this in. They're trying to make it now going to be the voice of reason and truth. And we know they were the ship shapers. They were the reptilian assholes. They were Juan and the JFK Jr. Have you people lost your minds? Listen, it must run around common sense. You're damn right, common sense. Audit the Senate or the Congress, or you're full of shit. And now that you've kissed Flynn on the ass, the final kiss on the ass, we know who Flynn is. And guess what? It makes me 1,000 times more dangerous because I'm the one son of a bitch that can bury Flynn. I am that witness to the J6, all those communications. I am that witness in that secret ass meeting.
Yeah.
And then I have the thing. And if you're going to go after the money laundering, you're using my evidence. All those communications I still have. That's why it's quiet. You notice they're not attacking. They're not doing.
Right. And we put out a bunch of emails to Kash Patel. And I know I got notifications of all the people that did it. We didn't hear a thing, but of course we won't. But we know we bothered him with that. So he's got to be seeing it.
I'm going to war. And it's not with Trump anymore. Not Trump.
No.
Patel, Bongino, you got a job to do. AG, what is it? Bondi?
Bondi, yeah.
You got a job to do. We're going to see you draw this job. We're going to see you have.
I lost him again.
Flynn, you're ignoring this. You're not. And then what? They're going to investigate the insurrection day and miss this. Hey, you see these text messages? Oh, and we got communications with Planet Fitness and how the cartel took it all over during the same time with the Flynn people. Juan's having lunch with the asshole. See? What are they going to say? It's not happened?
Right.
They're working on it now. They're moving on it now. And listen, all the audits, everything they were attacking now is all that we called out. Do we not realize now that the Department of Justice controlled the courts?
Yeah.
So when I said there was one single path to beat them, and all these people were saying sovereignty, that worked out, right? All the other things we were going to do, the military, all this, right? It was always a race to their money. That was it. We found the money. I'm telling you, I've even given you a simple way to get in. Hey, is this guy a criminal? Yeah. Is Anagos, let's look at his. He's a criminal. They're all criminals. Easy way in.
So we're going to audit the cartel bank.
Right.
Yep.
That's making billions selling children and killing your children with fentanyl. And again, now, fentanyl's top of the news. We're turning around and pull the tariffs. Do you know what the reasoning was that Trump gave? Fentanyl.
Yeah.
Fentanyl. I only got the largest seizure. And here it is. Ready, boys and girls? It's not Mexican cartels that are a problem, bigger problem. It's the American cartels that partner up with them. Yep. They opened your borders. They own your politicians. What that biggest bust that I got in Bedford, New Hampshire, do you remember the evidence that I put out there? Text messages from inside the cartel, inside a warehouse, inside a manufacturing company of fentanyl in Boston, Massachusetts. You don't have to be, you can make it anywhere, and they make it here. Listen, if they make it here, they cut out the Mexican cartels, which is why you opened the border, which is why fentanyl is in your streets now, being distributed by cartels, and the same reason why all these box pharmacies, CVS, Rite Aid, are closing. I mean, rapid fire.
Yeah.
Right, Ed? File bankruptcy. But see, that's not all. See, they take out the cartel, you take out the fentanyl, you take out the child trafficking. You find their money, you identify them all. Where'd you get the money? How'd you get the money? How about this? Menendez, a senator, right? He got an 11-year sentence. He got kicking gold working
Yeah.
for Egypt.
Yeah.
So in other words, wouldn't it have been a good idea for him to sign something where we audit his finances? All of
You
them.
think?
That's what we do. And that's what these audits from Elon Musk should be moved to. I'm saying this, if all we're seeing is payoffs, buyouts, layoffs, you were all played for fools. Fools.
Yeah, there's no
You did a
justice in
great-
that.
Right. They weren't doing their job. They were getting paid for it, but they're not going to jail. And it was like, if they're getting paid, who are they protecting is who the next question should be. And if they're paying them off and giving them what, 100,000? That's not something you do if you're looking to take it back and
Right.
indict. That's a deal. And I'm afraid there's a lot of deals going on. So again, let's find out who they arrest. Remember, movement. Movement right now, to me, is pure confusion. They are not giving you the right face of things. And they think that you can be manipulated, and you have been.
Yep.
And look at how bad you had been with the people. So if they leave these podcasters and influencers in place, then you know we've lost some kind of end to this arrangement.
Yep.
All right, Qrash.
All right. I'll see you.
All right, talk.